Welcome to the final video in the series of the 7 habits of highly successful internet marketers. In this video we're going to be looking at modeling and mentoring, and particularly the abundance mentality, mindset, mentors, teaching and business, and how they apply to this particular principle and this particular habit that all successful internet marketers have. First of all, there's the abundance mentality. Now, by this, I mean being open to opportunities that are provided to you. For example, if you have an article writer who you've outsourced things to, then you can stay open to the opportunity of working with them, not just again, but of finding them other people who they can work with. So if you become somebody who is a resource for people, so let's say somebody comes to you and says, I need a really good article writer, you can be open to that opportunity and see it as an opportunity, and rather than keeping that article marketer to yourself or that article writer to yourself, you can say to them, well, yeah, I've got somebody perfect for you, and in fact I can outsource the work for you, and as a result that creates a win-win-win situation. The outsourcer gets more work and perhaps even starts to build their own business as a result of it, because they're getting so much work from you and from the people around you. Your joint venture partner in that case, the person looking for the article marketer or the article writer, is getting more benefit as well, and of course so are you. You're providing a service for people, providing value which people will remember. They may even pay you for it, who knows. It's something that can be a creative cooperation as a result, because by having these creative cooperations you can create ways in which to make money for each other, money for your businesses, and provide great value for your marketplace. Again, this makes you an expert within your field, and people will recognise you for that, and they will always come to you as the person in the field who provides the most value or provides the most amount of good information. So it's important to be creative in those cooperations and to think slightly laterally when you're in your business model. Once you've made it work, once you've got that system working, try and think how this could affect other people, how you could provide this benefit to more people, either by perhaps using video, for example, or doing audio courses, or providing mindset training for people. Any of those sorts of things could be useful. And it refers to a story called The Acres of Diamonds. And The Acres of Diamonds was actually a sermon that was put forward by a very well-known almost like a preacher to a point, although not religiously based. He would talk about this Acres of Diamonds story, which basically revolves around a man who had acres of diamonds on his property but didn't know about it, because he instead looked elsewhere for inspiration and went and ended up selling his property, ended up going elsewhere to try and mine for gold in order to make his fortune, and ended up dying penniless and alone because he hadn't cultivated the things that were around him. All the opportunities that were around him, he hadn't seen them, and by choosing not to see them, you end up with this lack mentality of there isn't enough already to go around. It's important to realise that all the skills you need are already there, they're already around you, and in many cases you either possess them or you know people who do possess those mentalities or those qualities that you need. And so the Acres of Diamonds story is a very poignant one, and it's one that you can read in full in The 1 Minute Millionaire by Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen. And that book tells all about the Acres of Diamonds and how you can find your own acres of diamonds as well in the internet marketing world or property industry or whichever. It's also important, and I've put a link to it, you can see the arrow there, which links straight to mindset, because this is all about mindset really. The abundance mentality is just a very specific part, or offshoot if you like, of mindset as a whole. It's important in your mindset when you're internet marketing to have the drive and the reason why, and the reason why needs to be big enough. Often people find that just having the goal of making a certain amount of money isn't enough. They need to find a reason why that money is important. And for example, if you were to provide, let's say, healthcare for a relative of yours who was ill, that would be a big reason why, because it's no longer just about you, it's about that person, and it's about you perhaps even saving that person's life, who knows. If you were to do that, then that's a much bigger drive behind your activity than if it's just about you making an extra $5,000. It becomes a bigger deal, and it becomes a bigger way in which you can help both yourself and help the people around you and help the world as well, ultimately, by providing that bigger reason why for yourself. It's important as much as you can to do what you love, and if you're doing what you love in internet marketing, or indeed in anything, it becomes a much easier process. It becomes much easier to do what you're doing. It becomes easier and less of a chore, for example, to write articles about what you love, because if you love it, then it's easy because you already know this information, you already like reading about it, you like being a part of it, you like blogging about it maybe, and you like reading other people's work about it and researching information about it if you're doing what you love. If you're not doing what you love, then it becomes a much harder thing to do, a much more difficult region, if you like, or a much more difficult reason, in fact, to make money. It's also important to realise that by having the right mindset, you can create more entrepreneurs around you, because other people will be inspired by you. They will either be inspired by the fact that you have improved your own life, they'll be inspired by the fact you've improved other people's lives, and they'll want to know how you did it. By doing that and by mentoring those people, they can then model your success, and they can be entrepreneurs in their own right within their own business and do something they really love. It's important as a result of that for you yourself to find the right mentors. If you can find successful mentors, then you can just model their success. You can see what they did, what systems they put in place, how they did it, exactly what advertising methods they used, exactly what traffic methods they used, all of those things, even the mindset that they had to make them successful. All they did was implement a system that worked, and all you need to do is go and find somebody with that system and copy the same system, and make sure you copy each element to it, because only then will you be truly successful in what you're doing in your modelling. Of course, the nice thing about that is that by doing that you can also mentor other people. Once you've got a system that works, by having modelled someone else's system, you can then pass that on to the next person, and they can then go and teach lots of other people as well, and you're creating more entrepreneurs as a result of that, and more people who are in control of their own money and their own lives as a result of that. The great thing about modelling mentors as well is that it becomes transformational learning rather than just textbook learning. By transformational, I mean that you are doing something that is not only transforming your life and the lives of other people, but it's transforming your perspective as you learn. So as you apply these principles, you see that they work or you see that they don't work, and you can either move on to find something that does work or keep doing the thing that does work. If you can do that, then you're learning on the job, as it were. It's almost like taking an apprenticeship to being, a wood carver, or being a furniture maker, or any of those sort of very hands-on jobs. The best people at them are people who found mentors who were brilliant at that job already, and then who worked every single day to be better by doing the actual job. They kept making tables until one of them didn't fall over, and then they realised that actually if they put this joint together in that way, that's the perfect way to do it, so we'll keep doing that, and then they can improve on that joint and make it look prettier, and then they can make a table look even prettier, and then they can be more ornate while still keeping the principles that they've learnt. And all you're doing with internet marketing is the same thing. You're building a system that works, and by then building a system that works, you are learning on the job, because every time that system produces a good result, it reinforces that the system is working. And if the results start to change, if they start to dip, then you can look at the system, and again, by learning what's going wrong, you can correct it. That's transformational learning. It's important as well to consider teaching. Once you've put a system together that works, it's important to pass that knowledge on, and it's important for two reasons. One is that it's just a good thing to do because it shares the love, if you like, shares the knowledge with the world. But on a personal level, it also helps you, because teachers actually are often very knowledgeable because they've learnt from the students that they're teaching. Often you'll find that the students will ask questions that you hadn't thought of when you were learning that principle, and as a result you get a much more in-depth analysis, or a much more in-depth approach to teaching that subject the next time. And the next time someone will ask something else that you weren't expecting, so you can learn and get the answers to that particular question as well, until eventually you have so much knowledge about that particular thing, that particular subject, that you become a fantastic teacher of it and able to help people far more effectively thanks to the people that you taught. So by becoming a teacher, you can get that knowledge. As I say, it improves on your own ideas, and you start to do what's known as interpersonal leadership, rather than just being the dictator, if you like. A lot of teachers, certainly at school, a lot of teachers tend to just sort of dictate what they have to dictate because that's what they have to do. They have to get you to regurgitate a certain number of facts in the exams in order to get you to pass those exams. Well, that's not necessarily a very good way of working, because it's not interpersonal. You're not developing a relationship with the people you're teaching, and you're not catering to what those people really need. Many people need to learn in a very visual way, for example, so video is good for them. Other people learn in an auditory way, so they have to listen to stuff. Other people will be able to read from reading much better. Other people will be better at what's known as kinesthetic learning, so actually sort of touching and feeling and doing the actual effort itself. And that goes back to what I was talking about with the carpenter, of actually being able to put together that table, put together that bit of furniture. The only way to be able to do it and learn it effectively is to actually do it and make the mistakes and do it again and make more mistakes, and eventually you'll fail your way to success, essentially. So that interpersonal leadership is very important, because you can then coach and mentor people, have mentors yourself, and then pass that knowledge on to others, and as a result learn it far more solidly. Finally, it's important for your business that you have this inspired action, and all of the things that I've spoken up to this point about with the abundance mentality, the mindset, modeling, mentors and teaching, all come down to inspired action, and that in itself improves your business. The reason it's inspired is because you are thinking outside of just yourself, and you're thinking of how you can improve not just your own life but the lives of people around you, and the lives of the world at large, because by teaching one person, that person can then go and teach lots of others. If you teach 2 people, you can double the number of people that could be taught eventually, and at the same time you're still teaching others around you in your close circle, so you're producing something that is long lasting, that will help a number of people in the world, not just yourself. So again, that's an inspired way of looking at things, an inspired action if you actually do it. It's important also to manage your activity when you're modelling and mentoring. Find out what the vital few are. By the vital few, I mean the small things that make the big results. So if something is creating a big result in your life, you need to find out what that thing is and concentrate on it. It's what I was talking about the Pareto principle in earlier videos. You could see that actually 20% of the things you do create 80% of the results. On that basis, you need to find out what the vital few things are that the successful mentors that you have did. And when you've got those things, you need to keep doing them until you yourself can make them as successful. If they worked for one person, there's no reason they can't work for someone else. Also, it's important for your business generally that you can hire and create other jobs, because by doing that, you're adding to the world, adding to the global economy, adding to the lives of the people that are your outsourcers. You're potentially adding to JV partners as well, by producing good people, good quality people who you can train to do a number of different things. You could potentially become a hub for people, and if you become a hub for people like that, they can refer to you when they need something, they can refer to you if they have a problem, and you can just pass them on to somebody who is one of your outsourcers, for example, to do that work for them. They of course can pay you for that service, and your outsourcers get more work, which in turn means that they can create their own business themselves. So that's the overview of modelling and mentoring. I hope that's been useful to you. This has been the 7 Habits of Highly Successful Internet Marketers.